Hello and welcome to Let's Play Potatoes. Today we're gonna be reviewing a game that we had in Offs versus HowTo. This is one of the early games of Clan Wars, but the purpose of this is not to look at the game and say, wow, what an amazing game, but I actually really want to create a series that will help other players, mostly those who are not in Hurricane, maybe not either in Typhoon, to fix their gameplay and try to understand what they're supposed to be, to do, where they're supposed to be, and how they're supposed to do things. Now, I say again, I have done, and I've helped several clans in just improving small, minute details here and there regarding what they're supposed to do and how to do it. I think that there's a little something for everybody to learn from every game, from every person, but the way we do things in Offs is we put a big emphasis on tactics, and therefore the way that we do things are very, very important. So I'm slowing down the game a little bit just to explain a couple of things while we're looking. This might be a slightly longer video than normal, and hopefully the series will actually benefit some people. So first thing first, this is one of the maps from Clan Wars, and there's no point in really looking for where people are going, what they're doing. You need to understand the basic concept of every map. Now, the point is to understand the weaknesses of the ships you're in and their strengths. You need to understand how to overcome the enemy by understanding your ship first. So that's number one. Now, we all know Stalingrad, it's a great tank, yada, 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 great, fantastic. The fact of the matter is it's not an unbeatable ship, and far from it. If you use the right mechanics, if you use the right ways, if you use the right tactics, you can overcome anybody else. And I think that us in Offs are pretty adept at defeating supposedly stronger clans, mostly because our tactics and the way that we do things in game are better. Our skills as players may not be as good. Actually, they're definitely not as good as some of the players in the upper echelon of most of the high class tiers of clans, but we are definitely up with them. We've set ourselves in Typhoon the first season, and then we were Hurricane ever since. So it's not impossible. You just need to know what you're doing. So first thing first, the way you're going to be doing your tactics, if you think you're just going to jump into a game and start randomly going in one direction or the other, that may work once or twice, but in the long run, it's going to prevent you from winning, and it's going to cause you to lose. Now, obviously, nothing beats experience and nothing beats planning. So you need to really understand that players who have the experience and know what to play, you need to keep them in whatever ship they're playing. If you're not super skilled, and even if you are super skilled with every single ship, you will only get better with the positioning and the understanding of whatever ship you're using if you're using it multiple times. Now, don't pay attention to this me being This is me being very stupid here in the early on. I wasn't paying attention, and thank God I didn't pay the price for this, but just ignore this one part. Now, beyond that, you need to create a program, a plan, a tactic that allows you to both react to a situation, be passive, and also to not just react to what they're doing, but also react in a manner that allows you to be aggressive. So basically, you need a program, a sort of a situation, a tactic that allows you to both be aggressive, passive, and reactive. Okay, so defensive if you want. It's really important to understand why that's crucial in every game. The way the maps are set up, most of the maps are set up in such a situation that allows you to have two caps on one side plus one other. One of them will normally, I'm slowing down the game again, one of them will normally look more accessible, as if this is the thing you should be going for. This is the cap, this is what we need to fight over. That's not always the case. It's not. Actually, most maps, you'll notice that there's way more benefit, way more logic in trying to push another cap. Now, what I'm going to tell you is very simple. It's going to sound really complicated, but it's actually really simple. The players who are playing should be ready, and the plan that you're making should be a good enough plan that will allow your players to ditch one cap to go for another. Because right now, as you can see, each group has 7 players, which means that one cap is always going to have more physical players closer to it than the other one. Obviously, there's longer range ships and closer range ships and the likes, but there's always going to be one cap that has more people and one cap that has less people. Even if the BB is somewhere in the middle, it's still not on either of the caps, and therefore allows you to do other things. Now, Again, I know it sounds difficult. Trust me. I work on plans day and night sometimes. I work on them for many, many hours. And it sounds difficult. It's actually easier. Once you let yourself go a little bit, you understand that things are not as difficult as you make them look, then it gets much, much easier. I want to put the emphasis as well, before we go really deep into this game, on the importance of two things. One, when you are using, and hopefully if you're playing Clan Wars, you're using communications via Discord or TeamSpeak or whatever it is you want to use. But please, when you're using them, try and maintain the importance of radio silence and actual communication, not jibber jabber. I shot this, I did that. Something that's crucial. Crucial is this guy repaired. This person is moving down the middle. My radio positions put somewhere here. People should know that these things are crucial and they're very, very important for the gameplay, and therefore they need to be told. And things that shouldn't be told shouldn't be told. And it's very simple. If you start spamming every single thing that comes to your mind, the things that should pass are not going to pass. And that important information can sometimes literally lead to a win or a loss, because you didn't see something or didn't hear something. So radio silence and the importance of what is being transferred over the mic should be very, very important in this situation. Now, secondly, an FC is crucial. It's crucial to have a good FC. I cannot even put how important it is to have an FC that knows what he's doing, where he's doing, and with every ship. The FC cannot allow itself to just mumble on without knowing the grand plan and what every ship he wants to do, where they want him to do. Why? Because a good FC will bring the level of the team up to him. A bad FC will drag it down. You can't have 10 FCs. That doesn't work either. You can't have every single player speaking and telling other people what to do. You always have to have one player whose word makes sense above everybody else, and he's the one that says what to do. But also be lenient, and that person needs to be lenient and needs to understand that there are people who are seeing something else. So an FC doesn't make him God and doesn't make him king. It makes him a person who sees things, may see it better, may have a grander understanding of the schemes of what's going on around him, but overall should still be able to listen. Now, what we did in this tactic, just so you understand where we were heading with this, Hydro, a very, very good clan that was on the opposing team, decided to push on 2 caps. The Yu Yang went for C, and then they also capped their cap on the other side. They had 2 dual DDs. We were, I won't lie, we changed the tactics quite significantly after a couple of games, and we're still modifying things, but we were kind of lucky, and the destroyer that was with them, that was preventing ourselves from pushing in, ended up dying rather quickly, thus balancing the game from the perspective of scouting. Now, not only that, but as you can see, there's a Des Moines and a Henry that are sitting in position on the 10-9 line. They will push aside, and will eventually push out a Worcester. They'll push out the Worcester, and we'll try and push out the entire enemy team out of C. Now, yes, the caps are truly important. They're very important, but there are things that are more important. The 2 things that are more important than any other cap is you surviving, any member of the team surviving. The second one is getting kills, and the third one is getting caps. Caps are very important, don't get me wrong, but these 2 other main subjects are just not going to happen if you don't, if the main one, capping, getting the caps, are not going to happen if you don't get the kills and if you don't keep yourself alive. So whenever if you're thinking about, oh, let me get this cap, but there's a chance I'll die, you probably shouldn't be going for the cap. If there's a chance that you need to get a kill but you're gonna die, unless it's crucial and you're gonna lose the game because of it, you probably shouldn't try and get the kill. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there are certain things where players and clans, much better clans, are doing stupid things in the way that they're forcing something. They're forcing it above these 2 other things, remaining alive and getting kills, and then caps, and they're mixing them up, and then they die and they lose the game. So that's the order of how things should be. Now, In the positioning scenario, we have, like I said, the Moines and the Henry that are sitting on the 9-10 line, dual Zhao and Yu Yang that are sitting on the 1-2 line. Dual Zhaos and a Yu Yang is a very powerful combination. It's a combination because it allows you to stay, to be both reactive, defensive, and aggressive if you want to be. Simply because everything there has very, very low detection range. So if they want and decide, okay, we're not near radar, we want to just go away, they can do it. If they want to fire from far away, they can do it. They have the maneuverability if they want to dodge shells, and they can also decide to be aggressive and push down until something is really close and shoot at it. Obviously, it each depends on the skill level of the player, but overall, if you're using Zhaos, and again, I think that people this season, the current season, have been running around screaming, Zhaos are obsolete, Zhaos are obsolete, Henrys are the new in. It's just not, it's not real, it's not true. Why? Because it all depends on how you use them in the tactics. We put the Yamato in the middle, we put the Stalingrad. Now what this allows us is basically, it allows us to maneuver between the two sides. As you can see, the Des Moines and the Henry have a little bit of an issue between a Zhao and a Worcester. The Zhao has torps, so they can't just blindly push into a Zhao. And the Worcester, if anybody goes near a Worcester, they'll regret it very quickly, because a Worcester will be able to tank the damage from a Des Moines and a Henry for a decent amount of time to allow for one of them to die as well. And you don't want to try and trade one per one. That's normally not a good deal. Now, as you can see, we are going down simply on the caps. Even though we have one extra kill, we have one kill that they don't have. They do have 2 caps and they are leading, which makes this game actually quite a good game. Like I said, the whole tactics in the beginning are very malleable. They were changing. We were trying to figure out what to do. We know better now than we did back in the beginning. But again, things always change, and things can always get modified, and who knows? Who knows? So, what the Zhao and the Yu Yang on the 1-2 line were basically trying to create something we call the swoop tactic. It's for them to go, if we have the time, you want them to go up and swoop whoever is up there to go back towards the middle. Why? Because that prevents them from creating a crossfire. You don't want to be in a crossfire with Zhaos. You don't with anybody. If you're gonna be in a crossfire, that was, I believe, was a Zhao. So if that Zhao was up there and would have shot between the Stalingrad and the Zhao, they can delete an enemy Zhao. So you want to swoop them away in the same direction, making the Zhao, it's easier for the Zhao to actually start dodging, and nobody can come up behind you again. So in this point, we're in a little bit of a rush for time, and we notice it. So I do take up the Stalingrad with almost full HP. I shove my nose into C, and I tell the Yu Yang on the 2 line to start going towards A. Now there's a Stalingrad there, and the Stalingrad has a lot of HP, but he's moving away from the cap. And you need to look for those positions where it's actually crucial and good and amazing, where the enemy team is making mistakes. That is mistake number 1. Because he didn't move back, because he was afraid of taking torps, he was afraid of dealing with the Zhaos, he was waiting for the Republic to come, he basically vacated A, allowing our Yu Yang to move further down south and eventually capping A. Now, at this point, as you can see, the enemy Yu Yang spotted up and gave our friendly Yu Yang quite a bit of trouble, but he does end up going down. Every game has an element of RNG. You can't expect to constantly be on top. You can't expect to constantly win without RNG in your favor. That's always going to happen. We do end up also taking the Worcester. The Worcester was taking a turn in order to avoid the Yamato. Notice that having the Yamato in the middle of this map is actually very, very good for a lot of different things. But there's also benefits in having it to the side. Moving it to one side or the other will allow you to push harder on this side or that side. It depends on where you're going. The enemy Zhao decided to push in. I think he saw my broadside and figured, oh, maybe I'll find him. I use the radar. He shoots at me in a second, but he takes a big chunk of damage before he does so. I think he torched me. I don't remember. Yeah, there we go. He probably switched to AP for a Zhao for a future episode. That could be a mistake. The enemy Yu Yang on the opposite side does go down. I'm gonna slow down the game just a little bit. The mistakes that the enemy team made here are significant. There's a lot of them. Okay, but eventually it doesn't matter. Between RNG and people, this was the beginning. People make mistakes. Things change. They go up and down. You need to understand how to change things on your side. The importance of a good program, the importance of a good tactic, and the importance of following that tactic and following what the commander says are immeasurably important. If you know what you're doing, you'll do it well. And if you don't succeed the first time, you can either modify things or you can change them a little bit. It's fine. But if you are just running into an enemy camp, and if you're just trying, we'll do something, it'll be okay. Unless you have the skills to back it up. And even then, I'm going to tell you right now, even if you have the skills, we in offs are living testimony. Living testimony that you can have personal skills of the personal players. The personal players can have skills that are not as good as, let's say, Omni or TWA, or there's plenty of really good individual clans up there, and still defeat them time after time by having good tactics, following on them, and gaining the experience and knowledge you need. Alright, so let's move up. This game is almost over. We actually managed to turn the tides. The Zhao is about to go down. If they had a little bit more time, they may have ended up killing the Zhao in the north, but the Zhao down here basically didn't even have the chance. We end up winning on points. So again, really important to remember that there's specific points that are more important than other points. For example, caps should be last. You should always aim for staying alive. That's number one. Then kills, and then at the end are the caps. Tactics are immeasurably important. You need to think about them, use them, change them, modify them, see what happens, see what happens. Every ship has a weakness and every ship has a strength. If you wish to see me, if you want to see our clan wars, come on Twitch. On Twitch I am Let's Play Potatoes. I would be more than happy to answer any other questions. Please, if you like this video, subscribe. If you like, I can tell you, I'm going to put a lot more videos regarding Clan Wars and a lot of other games, and also, obviously, World of Warships. If you want to ask me anything else, you can leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. Thank you very much, and I hope I'll see you next game.